So you've returned. Apologies, I didn't mean to startle you. I heard you coming from my bedroom. I felt like it would be quicker to simply transport myself rather than walk down the hall. Are you sure it's fine? Your heart rate is rather fast now. Of course. Adrenaline. Take all the time you need. I was wondering how long your curiosity would rest. I returned here about an hour ago. Given the fact that I can come and go as I please, I took a few days to myself, roaming the city again. I wouldn't describe it as fun necessarily, but it was interesting. I suppose roaming feels a little different when I know I have somewhere to recharge, figuratively speaking, I mean. I'm still getting accustomed towards spending this amount of time indoors, especially with so few people around. No, it hasn't been bad, Fangs. You're quite the remarkable host, rest assured. Am I allowed to inquire as to where you've been? I see. Tell me, what do dynasties look like? I assume they resemble coteries in some ways, but alas, I was never part of one, so my understanding is a bit superficial. Led by their crown? What's a crown? So, like the head of a coterie. Fascinating. You feel tired. Your field. I can sense how you're feeling, Fangs. It's not a physical exhaustion, more so an emotional or mental one. Is something troubling you? You don't have to share anything you're not comfortable with. I'm simply offering an open invitation if you do feel you want to share. Of course. Oh, I didn't realize you were looking for time to yourself. If that's the case, I can leave and... No, I'm sorry, I'm confused then. I'm still a bit lost. So you're not asking me to leave? But you are looking for some respite given the responsibilities plaguing you in recent days. I see. If that's the case, then I suppose I'll be the one to provide that for you then. You want me to stay while simultaneously craving rest. The only logical conclusion is that I should be the one to provide that. Thanks. It doesn't have to be my job for me to want to do it. You were kind enough to offer me a place in your home. That is something I'm incredibly grateful for. Allow me to repay the favor in this way. Would you prefer sitting out here or joining me in the kitchen? It's up to you either way. That's fine by me. Remind me where you keep your cups? Ah, right. I'll be back out here shortly. Here you go. Something to drink. I think I recalled seeing you drinking that the other day. Apologies if it's not exactly what you're looking for right now. Alright, come on. There's a stairwell down the hall, yes? Perfect. let's go sit out there. Well, for starters, it's pretty late, so I doubt anyone else will come by or use it. And more importantly, I think it'd be a fun change of scenery, don't you? Come on, let's go. Oh, wait. Before we go out there, I should change out of this form. Thanks, please. You'll have to see me in my human form at some point, so I might as well get this out of the way. Plus, now we can pass as a stagnant pair of people. Well, that's assuming you can keep those fangs of yours in check. Come on. Do you enjoy staring? And it's fine. It's only natural that seeing me like this will take some getting used to. I do miss my tail already, though. Come sit. Is my human form really that interesting to look at? A bad different? Good to know. To be fair, I hadn't exactly thought about what we would do once we were out here. I suppose we could get to know each other more. Is that a thing that roommates do? I've never had one before, so I'm not sure what protocols to follow. Do you want to start with a question? Okay, let's hear it. Oh, it's just. Your question is sort of hinging on the assumption that I have things to celebrate, Fangs. I'm saying that I personally don't celebrate many special occasions. I suppose you're right. My words do indicate that I at least celebrate one or two. I guess whenever I do have a special occasion come up, which, as mentioned, is incredibly rare. Honestly, I prefer celebrating them in a relatively quiet manner. Yeah, I mean, that's not to say I'm entirely opposed to something more loud or lively or involved, but it's not my preferred atmosphere. In a perfect world, I would celebrate special occasions with those I care about. Most likely somewhere secluded or private, as to minimize potential interruptions and such. I'd probably be looking to simply enjoy their company. It would be comforting to watch. What would matter is that they were there to spend time with me in the first place, regardless of what form that takes. What about you? What's your ideal method of celebrating special occasions? You'd prefer if things weren't so quiet? Yeah, that's understandable. I suppose you are the conversationalist between the two of us, at least. Alright, a question for you. What's one of your favorite scents? And does it stir up any specific feelings for you? What do you mean? That's a perfectly normal question to ask someone. Are you implying you'd like me to provide another? Okay, what's your answer? That's an interesting one. And what feelings do you associate with that? All good choices. I know this was my own question, but I'm struggling to remember many scents at the moment. I think I'll settle for vanilla. If not that, I'd probably go for cinnamon. In general, spices tend to have a very pleasant aroma. And as for feelings, am I allowed to paint a picture? I mean, figuratively. Imagine a time where you were burning the midnight oil. Chances are you were telling yourself just a little bit more every hour as if time wasn't marching on. Eventually, your eyes adjust to the subtle shift in lighting. The sun had begun peeking in, painting everything in a soft shade of blue. At that point, you're scolding yourself because you swore you wouldn't stay up all night, but the sun's arrival helps you be kinder to yourself. Instead of focusing on what still needs to be done, you envelop yourself in something warm and tender. I think that's the feelings vanilla tends to bring up for me. It's at least part of why I enjoy sunrises. Yes. Your turn. My. Aren't we getting a little philosophical? Forgiveness is a bit complicated for me. I suppose the short version would be no. I don't find it easy to forgive others. But I feel like there's more to it than that. You want to hear me talk about it? Okay. In my experiences, I've seen my fair share of disagreements, arguments, fights, and so on amongst both Cupids and humans. Even as a Cupid without a coterie, I've been asked to mediate in different instances. The ability to feel another's emotions and will makes it harder to be objective at times. For me, I understand where they're coming from. I see their line of thinking, and I see how they arrived at what they did or said. It makes me want to empathize. But that empathy can be dangerous. When you're not careful, it morphs into obedience or blind devotion, assuming that everyone around you must have the best interests at heart and therefore deserves a pass. I learned that lesson a bit too late, but now I'm confident I won't repeat those mistakes. What are your thoughts on forgiveness? I understand. I'm not sure if I can top that last question of yours. Ask anything? Within reason, sure. Alright, Fangs, I've got one for you. What's one of your favorite compliments you've received? Yeah, I thought it might require a bit more reflection. Feel free to take as much time as you need. I've got my answer whenever you do. I asked the question, though. You should be the one to go first. You're certain you want me to go first? Mine has a bit of a lengthy introduction. okay? This was at a time where I found myself in remorse. While desire work is the most common role Cupids take on, in our own realm there are other positions available if we so choose. One of said positions are healers. Yes, the primary difference between a Cupid healer and a human healer is that a human does not possess the ability to heal a Cupid. With the proper training, a Cupid can learn how to heal humans as well, but when the situation is reversed, the best form of aid is an influx of affectionate desire. In that instance, it helps replenish our strength so we can perform our own healing. No, not quite. There are some Cupids whose specialty is healing. Very minimal learning is needed in those cases. For those of us without that specialty, we have to learn it on our own. Not every Cupid seeks out the information, seeing as our bodies will naturally mend themselves in most instances. This specific day, though, I hadn't fed in a while, so my injuries were healing a bit slowly. As I approached the healing site, I felt the presence of another Cupid close by. I assumed nothing of it, receiving my healing inside with no problem. But when I walked out, I felt that presence again. It hadn't moved, nor had it changed, so I ventured to locate the Cupid in question, eventually finding the source. It was a friend of mine, sitting there, cradling her arm. I didn't see this friend very often. The reasons behind that are more complex than I ever found out, but when I came across her, she had been trying to heal a broken bone. I didn't ask what had happened. It didn't feel like my place to. I merely got on the ground next to her, gently asked to see the injury, and used what strength I had to heal it for her. She could tell my resources were low, and for a split second, I thought she was going to chastise me for supposedly wasting my energy on her. But instead, she hugged me, and ever so quietly, she said, "The way you treat other people is beautiful. Please don't ever change that." Even if I haven't seen her in quite some time, I think about what she said constantly. It means more than any compliment about my appearance ever could. Yeah, I hope wherever she is, she's doing okay. So, do you have your answer now? What? You're telling me you've been deprived of compliments, Fangs? Well, that's just a disservice to you if you ask me. Hmm. Well, if you haven't received many in the past, then here's one to make up a fraction of the difference. You're very good at making others feel seen. It honestly seems effortless. You're welcome. Do you want to stay out here? Have you gotten your fill of late night introspection? Hey, I'll just stay out here with you until you finish your drink. After all, what kind of roommate would leave you out here all by yourself? Take your time. I'm staying right here.